choose me. I gotta go with me. When you choose yourself, some people might act as though that is an act of selfishness. I too used to believe that. I used to believe that, how could you? I've heard friends say, listen, I need to go on vacation by myself. I need a break. And they would go and they leave their children with someone that they trusted. And they come back, but when they came back, they were refreshed. They came back, almost a whole new energy was within them. It's important that we choose to love ourselves first. When you love yourself first, and then you love others, it's a certain, when you love yourself and you treat yourself better, it teaches other people to treat you better. When you love yourself and you treat yourself better, you feel better about yourself. This was a long journey that I had to carry through to find this out. And I know it sounds crazy. You would think this would be second nature. But I was taught to care for everyone else. Even as a little girl, as a baby, walking around, go help sister, go help cousin, go help granny. I was always, even as a toddler, running around trying to help everyone else. You know, that talk that my great-grandmother had when I sat on her lap at 4 years old in that white church with that blue light on, I'll never forget it. And she said, this is a whole new thing that you're going to have to deal with. You are going to have to carry the weight of many on your shoulders. You're going to have to make a choice, a conscious choice. You're being taught right now what it is that you're going to need to make the sacrifice, because the ancestors need you. They need you to do this job. I was a baby myself. Some even question how I can even remember some of the things that that woman said. And I'm not going to say that woman. I'm going to say my great-grandmother, my nanny. She was so happy. She said, you are so brave. Apparently, my mother figure was telling her certain things that I had been doing, or my grandmother must have, because actually at that point in time, I didn't know my mother. So it was at that time that, my granny had a talk with her. Now, we're talking about an old woman who walked throughout Harlem with no shoes on. Her heels, the heels of her shoe was her feet. She walked around barefooted, and God provided her a whole new heel on her feet to walk around, to be able to weather the storm of winter, spring, summer, and fall. And she carried that Bible around, and she wore all white. She dressed in white. She sewed her own clothes. And she'd be out there every day, bringing people into her church, guiding them and telling them what God's good deed was for them each day. When you walk on the shoulders of someone like that, when you learn from a person like that, you are taught to have self-sacrifice. You're taught to love others and to put yourself last. So there's a good and there's a bad part to that, because sometimes when you're taught only that, then you have to peel away some of those layers in order for you to see yourself and to know that you're important too. So in order for you to be important, you have to sometimes put yourself first. So I'm saying happy Valentine's Day, happy Love Day, okay? Even though every day is a love day. And knowing how to love yourself as well as others is a gift. God gave us a gift of loving. And loving yourself and loving others, and nothing can go wrong with you loving other people. But you must protect yourself, and you must not allow others to take advantage of you. So, and a lot of people, let me tell you something. Valentine's Day, my little sister and I used to go, and spend time together and just hang out. Just, act as though, manifest what we would be doing if we had boyfriends at the time. And it might sound crazy, but a lot of single women feel uncomfortable when, certain holidays come and they are by themselves. I myself have gone to the movies by myself, and I'll take a notebook and a pen or paper, pen, and I'll take notes on the movie, certain points that the people make, certain things that I think are important that I would like to, extend the experience with, what have you. It is important that you see yourself and you love yourself. This is Love Day, then let's love ourselves today and every day. But sometimes it's a journey to learn how to love yourself, to learn how to take time out for yourself, to find, time to even eat well, choose well, and be well. You know, did you treat yourself to something that you really liked today? I mean, I'm gonna tell you, it wasn't really a sale on grapes, but I decided I wanted those grapes, so I bought those grapes and I ate those grapes. And that was my thing that I wanted to do today. Now you say, oh, that's boring, but that is one of the things that I wanted to do. I want to eat good food. I want to enjoy myself. I want to enjoy myself with God. And I had a great meal today, a nice salad. And I sat there and I listened, to nature, and I enjoyed myself. Now, whatever it is that you choose to do that is going to make your day, then that is what you should do. But I know I even had to have a talk today with a certain individual who needed some guidance today. Now, that was something that I gave today out of the goodness of God's heart, because God apparently was directing us to cross paths. I think that people don't realize that, okay, let's say you take a job and you say, man, I'm just going to take this job for the money. More than likely, you were guided to that job because you have to cross paths with someone and there's a lesson to be learned with that person or those people. And then you move on and you go on to another job. Sometimes you'll choose a job because you really love what you do. You really love the people that you work with. That is a blessing within itself. That means your lessons at that job are going to be a little bit more extensive. But you never know why God is directing you to go somewhere. I made a turn today that I didn't really, it wasn't really something that I was really planning on doing, but I made the turn anyway. And I went in and I had a very interesting conversation with someone. And I realized that we were both meant to be there to have that conversation and to transition into something else, to transition into a whole new experience, so that both of us were better off after that conversation than we were coming in. I learned a lesson and that person learned a lesson and we moved forward. I may never cross the path of that person again, or I might. This is my second time crossing the path, but apparently it was something that God wanted both of us to gain in that conversation. And it was a very interesting conversation. I feel like I learned a few things, and I feel like that person learned a few things as well. Every experience doesn't have to always be a bad experience, or even it could be a good experience. But the main thing is what you gained from it. Did you learn something? A lot of people, like when I talk to my high school kids, they are kids in my neighborhood that I talk to. And I'll say certain things, and they say, I'll tell them after I finish giving them the talk, I say, learn something today. And they always laugh and say, you always say that. But my thing is that we cross each other's paths for a reason. They're walking in the same direction as I'm walking towards the high school, because they have to go and I have to cross the path to get to where I have to go. And it's funny because we're all starting off early to get to this pathway. And we usually same students meet on that same pathway. And it's a great thing when it happens because, they always smile. It's almost like they know what I'm going to say, but they're still very respectful. And I like that. They have different questions or what have you. And I told them, I had a talk recently about them utilizing their library. You have a library right, around the corner from the school. Do you use it? And the library is extensive for, if you want a program, they have suggestion boxes. You can write a suggestion that you might want your library to help you with in. They have different group conversations where the teenagers have certain questions and maybe they don't feel as comfortable speaking to their parents about it. The library will speak to the parents and ask that they join different groups, whatever. It is important that we are utilizing all these different gifts that God is providing us. And the library is truly a gift. Sometimes when you don't have the money to go to a play, the library might have a small amount of tickets. But you might be the first one because you were the one who asked about it. You are the one who made the inquiry, you know. When you love yourself, you are setting certain goals each day. Maybe your goal is just to get through the day in a healthy way. Maybe your goal is to drink more water that day. Whatever the goal is, if you are looking forward to making certain improvements in your life, you have that conversation with God and you say, you know, God, I really would like to eat healthier this year. Can you help me? Now, let's be clear. Be ready for the response, because some people, you know, that response might be you might not. McDonald's might shut down for the day, and you might not be able to get in there, and you have to eat healthier foods. You know, be ready for what it is. You know, whatever it is that you're suggesting, because when God answers the question that you're asking or you're inquiring about, be ready for the answer, because sometimes it's a journey that you would never expect. He's got quite a sense of humor as well, you know. When my ex beat me in chess and I asked to improve my chess game, that was part of the journey. The person going ahead and beating you. And I mean, he beat me so badly, I was really not happy. You know, I was a sore loser. I'm going to be honest with you, a sore loser. And he, you know, he laughed about it or what have you. Then he realized, said, you know what? We can work on your game a little later, but, you know, I had to get a few pokes in, you know, whatever. But it's important that we realize that our journey doesn't always have to be so serious. We do get to play and laugh and joke. Everything's not going to be sunshine and roses with everything, but the journey is still yours. And in the journey, especially when you are enjoying your life, you're trying to strive for better, there are going to be certain, you know, certain challenges that come along with it, But at the same time, let us begin to really enjoy life. Whatever the experience is or what have you, even, and that's another thing too, we have to start forgiving ourselves and really enjoying things. Now, it's been a journey for myself, I'm going to tell you personally, for me to forgive myself, because sometimes you beat yourself up and you're like, how could I have fallen for that? How could I have had such an experience? Because some of the experiences I have, I'll say, you know, I'll observe the circumstances at the time, and I'll know that something is not right with this person. But I'm realizing that God has crossed our paths for a reason. And although I'll have to cut it short, I'm still journeying in the right direction. You know, and I think all of us have that experience that we can relate to, where, you know, certain people, you walk through the journey in this experience, but it wasn't exactly the best experience. And maybe you feel like it could have gone better. It was still an experience to teach. So you might not be able to manipulate it because it already happened. You might not be able to improve it because it already happened. You might just look at that as an experience that you had and that you can gain something from, some learning lesson, and just move forward. But you have to forgive yourself, okay? And it is such a lovely experience when we can live out an experience and not be so hard on ourselves, and just see it as an experience and move forward, okay? So that's been our talk today. Thank you so much for joining us, and this is Indigo Moon signing off.